So if you can just perhaps elaborate on what that jump looked like, what did you end up doing? Because it looked like you had a substantial career. You could have undergone lots of different routes, but you went into a very, very specific path. So you can elaborate on the journey and the path that you took.
So the journey to transform myself to an entrepreneur started in 2020, and I had a very clear idea, which of course then changed three times over, right? Sort of, I mean, that's my maybe introducing my first learning that it's really good to have an idea, then really you need to experiment what this really means on the market. And the idea I had was related to the job that I did before. And what I noticed in my previous job, and then often these are how companies start, right? I mean, you see a problem and you fall in love with the problem. And then you say, okay, I mean, I really think that everybody has that problem. And then you sort of start your path, and then you realize that even if everybody had that problem, maybe that problem is not at all important or not at all strategic, or actually they don't have the money to solve the problem, or they can live happily with the problem. So, so I had this idea that the way go-to-market happens in B2B markets or B2B tech companies needs to change, because indeed we put a lot of effort in figuring out that how we're gonna grow, how we're gonna keep our customers, how we're gonna extend our relationship with our customers. And then we believe that the market has not changed, and we have these lists of customers, and we think that okay, that we really know who we want to target, and then we try to figure out from various databases how these customers are and where they are and what the contacts are. And then I think it's very, very common in today's B2B marketplace to really start your go to market journey by having a list. And then my last job at HPE was sort of, as I said, running business development and marketing for 8 countries. And I was very data driven. And I knew how much problem there is in the data. And then I had a long experience working with large databases, with large set of customers. And I said, okay, we cannot focus on 100,000 corporate accounts, right? There is no way that this is possible for two reasons. One, we have internal resources and we have internal limitations of what we can actually look after. Second, the market is not there for us to wait. Oh, hey, nice to meet you, HPE. I mean, I've been waiting for you for the last 6 years, and then I'm so happy that you came. So we really need to match our value proposition to the market, and then understand where the market is, and then where customers are on their journey, and really who we can target. So that was my whole idea, or an idea that we had with a partner of mine. And together we said, okay, we really been in this marketplace. We've done a lot of the inner work inside of companies, and then Hans was outside. He was already a consultant before, and then he said, okay, let's really focus on this problem, and see where it leads us. So the first lesson that I'd like to pass on is that really understand what is the problem that passionates you, right? I mean, every one of us, and then I do a lot of coaching also with individuals and mentoring, and then I do the same for companies. Like, I ask them, when you think of a solution that you're selling today, I mean, what was the problem that originally this solution addressed? So what was that problem that this solution really can change? So there is a change that this solution brings to the customer, and then can we understand what that change is, right? So what is it
Yeah.
that we're trying to address with that solution? So to me, that was very important, because you really passionately have to believe, and when you are a consultant, I think you have to passionately believe that you are out there to solve a problem, and you have a personal connection to that problem. So I had a very personal connection to that problem because of my corporate experience, and that leads you to really go deep to understand, do other people have this problem? Do they want to solve this problem? Do they believe that this is important to solve the problem, or they actually can live happily after with status quo and they don't want to change, even though they recognize that there is a problem? But they say that the change and the fear of the change, that the risk that we're taking with this change is bigger than our pain sitting with this problem. So my second advice would be to really figure out with your clients that, okay, this is a problem, understand what this problem is, and understand how important it is for potential clients to solve this problem. And so that's really how it started. So I was passionately in love with this problem. I believed, that I've seen enough companies to make that assumption that it's an important problem to solve. At the same time, what led us to sort of various routes and paths and pivoting and repivoting is that the problem is very, very strategic. And it takes a lot of guts for customers to say, okay, I'm really going to do a huge transformation of the way I've always done go to market, and I'm going to do it this new way. So you really need to be patient. My third advice is you really need to be patient because things take time, especially if your consulting business is about something quite strategic. So my free advice for people who are transforming: fall in love with the problem, understand what this problem means for your customers, understand what your solution is to that problem and what change it brings, and understand that really what is the likelihood or what are the alternatives that exist today that make customers move away from the status quo, either because they're too afraid or because they're driven. But they have to move away from status quo, and you as a consultant, you need to understand this. So that would be the beginning, I would say.
Great.